Hello everyone. Today I'm just going to discuss one of the real scenario case into this Power Apps application. So into this Power Apps application, I just want to give some kind of a functionality to the user that user can export the data of the gallery into the CSV. So directly we do not have a such kind of a functionality into this Power Apps where directly you can go for the export activity. So for this one, we will integrate the Power Automate Cloud with this Power Apps application. So we have to create a flow into the Power Apps application first of all. So into this Power Apps application, I have created this flow, which is an instant cloud flow, which you can create it from here. Into this instant cloud flow, if you see, so what I have used that is basically the Power Apps trigger I have used, where I have this variable, which is an input variable. Into this input variable, basically my data will get flow from the Power Apps to this Power Automate Cloud. It means whatever the data we are just going to export it will pass through this input variable. Here you can take any of the name of the variable and then the same name you have to use into the rest of the flows. After that, I have taken this compose action where I have used that input variable which is generated from this previous action. Now here I have used this parse JSON. Directly I can just go for this create CSV here, but the reason is that I have used this parse JSON because if I will just go for to create CSV directly, then in that case, it might be your column will not export in the sequence. In the sequence means your columns will come into the alphabetical orders. So like here you can see EEID, EMP name, business unit, and so on. So alphabetically, if you see the column, so business unit will come into your first column, country will come into this in your second column, and so on and so forth. But I need the output into the same column format. Like the first should be the EEID, then EMP name, then business unit, job title, and the country. So for that one, I have used this parse JSON. Into this parse JSON, I have created this schema. So for this schema, what you have to do it actually that you can just go for this first of the records. Okay, any of the records you can just take it and you can write into your schema method into the JSON format into a square bracket and curly braces. So if I show this to you, if I scroll it down, so here you can see I have just given that which columns basically I'm just looking for. So how you can just create that one basically. So now if I just go for this method to show this to you, so here simply you can just go for generate from sample. You can click that and here you can pass this kind of a JSON. And once you will click on done, this is something I have just defined what column I'm just looking for here, right? And the value. So this is the first record value I have just provided. So it will consider as an input, and on the basis of that, it is going to create the complete JSON schema for you. And you have to hit on the done button. Once you click on that, it will generate this schema for you. Now, on the basis of this schema, if you want to change the type, that is the data type of any of the column, so you can change that. Like example, you can see business unit is a string, country is a string, and so on and so forth. If you want to change that, you can also change it as well. Now, after that, I have used this create CSV. So default, it will be into this automatic mode, and I have just converted into this custom mode. And here I have defined whatever the columns I'm looking for. Into this from, I have used this variable which is generated from the previous action parse JSON. So we have this body. So now all my data is going to store into this one. And from that, here I have defined this column into the left hand side, whatever the column name you just want to mention into your CSV or in your Excel file, you can just go for that. So in that case, these columns I just want to display into my CSV file, and the value will come from the previous actions, which is a parse JSON. Here I have used this EEID, EMP name, and so on and so forth, right? And here, once I just pass all these values, then after that, I have used this create file. Into this create file action, I'm just going to place the file into my OneDrive. So if you'll just go for this create file into your OneDrive action here, so in that case, my file is going to locate into this path. So here, I just want to show you one thing. If you just search for this OneDrive, so into this OneDrive here, you will be able to see if you have a business OneDrive, you can just go for that. If you have a local OneDrive, you can just select this OneDrive, and here you can just go for this create file. So into this case, I have used this create file here, which is my local drive, and I have this Power Apps folder where I just want to place this file. So I have selected the root from here by clicking on this folder, and here I have selected this Power Apps folder. Now here, I have just given that what name I just want to give to my file. So I have just given export underscore. Then after that, I just want to give the date and time. So I have used this expression as the UTC now. And after that, I have just given this .csv as an extension here. Then file content. If you see into this file content from where your data needs to be placed into this file. So from this previous section, which is a create CSV table. So if you see here, create CSV table is generating the one output variable here. So that variable I have used it. In the last, this is respond to this Power Apps or float trigger. Basically, the sections I have used. This is not required if you want to go for that. Like for an example, whatever the output is going to generate from this Power Automate Cloud Flow, if you want this information into your Power Apps application, in that case, you can use this one. So now this is something I have just created and I have just saved this flow. After that, you have to come back into your Power Apps application. And from the left hand side, if you see these three dots, which is ellipsis, if you click on this Power Automate, then here you have to go for a add flow. And here you will see the flow which you have created. So if you see, my flow name is export data Power Apps. So that flow is basically I have just added. If in case that is not showing, then you can just go for this refresh. So here I have already added this one. Okay. So now here you can see it is added. In case if you have made any changes into your flow, then here you can just go for this refresh as well. Now, this Power Automate Cloud Flow, we are just going to use into this Power FX function. So I have just created the one export button here. By clicking on this insert control, you can just go for this button control and you can use that. Now here, what we are going to do is into this export, first of all, whatever the information we have into this gallery, whatever the column you want, all these I'm just gonna export into the gallery first of all, into the collection first of all, and that collection we will use. So if you see, I have used this clear collect, and this collection name is a call export. So this collection name is basically I have just given where my all the data from the gallery is going to store. And here I have defined that which column I'm just looking for into my gallery. So here, these many columns, I'm just looking into my gallery here. So you can see that. So now this part is going to capture the data into your gallery. Once the data is passed into the gallery, then I have called the flow which I have used. So the flow name dot run, and here that I have just converted into the JSON format, and that collection basically I have used. And after that, I have just given this notification that once my data is exported successfully, it will give you this message, data exported successfully now. Now here, let's run this application and see that. As of now, we do not have any file placed into this folder. Now, if I just click on this export button, now here you can see data exported successfully. Now, if you go into your drive and just refresh this folder, and your file will be placed into this folder. So now here you can see this file is here now. If I just click on that, so you will see all those records which you have into the gallery. See, employee ID, employee name, business unit, job title, and the country. All this data has been exported successfully, right? So this data, if you see, you have this data into your gallery, into this Power Apps application, and the same data has been exported successfully. So this is the method how we can export this data into the CSV format from the Power Apps application. So first of all, you have to create this Power Automate Cloud Flow, and then that Power Automate Cloud Flow you have to call into your Power Apps application. The most important point, if you will not use this parse JSON directly, if you are using this create CSV table and calling from the compose, the variable which is generated, then these columns will be sorted into the ascending order. It means the business unit will come into the first place, then the country, that is basically the alphabetically order. So I need into the same format here what we have into our gallery. So that's why I have used this JSON format, that is parse JSON. So I hope you understood this concept, how we can export the data from the Power Apps application. Thank you so much, everyone.